That approach, however, has drawn criticism both from police supporters and protesters. Each group sees Ms. Cruson as frustratingly equivocal and insufficiently supportive. She doesn't have the political capital to bring to a problem like this, said Mike Jones, a longtime figure in Street. Lewis politics and a Democrat who serves on the Missouri State Board of Education. The region's racial tensions were laid bare in 2014 when a white police officer in nearby Ferguson fatally shot an unarmed black 18-year-old, leading to months of tense demonstrations that included a few nights of looting and arson. Ahead of the verdict here on Friday, activists had pledged a new round of protests if the judge acquitted Jason Stockley, a former Street Lewis officer who fatally shot Anthony Lamar Smith, 24, after a high-speed chase in 2011. Those protests, which on 3 nights ended with property damage and arrests, have drawn hundreds of demonstrators and prompted the cancellation of major concerts and high school sporting events. Many African Americans here have said that they feel disrespected and mistreated by the police, and that their opportunities are limited in a region where housing is segregated and where the best jobs and schools are in mostly white neighborhoods. Ms. Cruson has called those issues real impediments to the success of our city. Still, some view her as heavy-handed in response to the latest protests and slow to make tangible changes. Tashora Jones, the city treasurer, who has attended some of the protests in recent days, said Ms. Cruson seemed like she's taking the side of the police. Such a stance further alienates protesters, said Ms. Jones, who finished second to Ms. Cruson in this year's Democratic mayoral primary in March. Ms. Jones was one of several well-known African Americans in the mayoral race, and some political analysts have theorized that those candidates split the black vote and allowed Ms. Cruson, the only prominent white candidate, to sweep into office with 32% of the primary vote. A St. Louis Post-Dispatch analysis found that Ms. Cruson had deep support in parts of the city, but polled below 5% in some wards on the mostly black North Side. Ms. Cruson, 64, a certified public accountant and the first woman to serve as mayor of Street. Lewis took an unlikely path to City Hall. She was elected to the St. Louis Board of Aldermen in 1997, 2 years after her husband was killed in an attempted carjacking outside her home. Heather Navarro, who assumed Ms. Cruson's seat on the board this year, said that the mayor was regarded as a responsive straight shooter in the ward she represented, a majority-white area west of downtown. I think, overall, people really respect her, Ms. Navarro said. She tends to listen well. She's really good at dealing with difficult situations and making sure that all sides are heard. Ms. Cruson replaced Francis Slay as mayor, whose 16-year tenure was the longest in city history. These are very difficult challenges for any mayor or law enforcement agency, Mr. Slay said. There is no easy way or surefire, textbook approach to addressing them. He declined to comment further. Ms. Crusen's approach in recent weeks, she released a video statement before the verdict urging calm, and has said she was appalled by what happened to Mr. Smith earned her praise from some who hope for more concrete action in the months ahead. Time will tell if we're able to enact those major policy changes, said Michael McMillan, chief executive of the Urban League of Metropolitan Street. Lewis. But I applaud her comments of being measured and trying to bring people together. Others have noted that Ms. Crusen has been in office only 5 months and is overseeing fallout from a judge's ruling on a shooting that occurred 6 years ago. We do not think the mayor is responsible for the Stockley verdict in any way, said an editorial in The Street. Lewis American, a newspaper serving the city's African American community, which went on to encourage her to pay attention to the message of protesters. Ms. Crusen has been noticeably more measured in her statements than Missouri's governor, Eric Greitens, a Republican, who put the National Guard on standby and wrote on Facebook that if you break a window, you're going to be behind bars. But she appeared alongside her acting police chief, Lawrence O'Toole, when he asserted that his officers owned tonight after making dozens of arrests when windows were broken downtown. Ms. Crusen later criticized officers who were reported to have chanted "Whose streets? Our streets," a phrase often invoked by protesters after a night of protests and arrests. But Ms. Crusen also said that, overall, the police had done an excellent job. Jeff Ruorda, business manager of the St. Louis Police Officers Association, which endorsed Ms. Crusen and represents rank-and-file officers, said his members were colossally disappointed in the mayor's rhetoric about the acquittal. I think she's been overly sympathetic to a misguided cause, Mr. Ruorda said. Ms. Crusen suggested that her approach, one embraced neither by protesters nor police officers, was in fact an asset in these fractious times.